Hello, and thank you for joining me. I am Mark Chussell, founder of Advanced Competitive Strategies. Welcome to this ACS strategy story, a brief presentation on a single strategy subject. Now, I know that there are many definitions of strategic thinking. I will focus on the value of strategic thinking, especially in how it helps us make good decisions under the huge uncertainties and high stakes of competitive strategy. This slide is supposed to convince you that you should believe me, at least a little. The key bits are that I have been in competitive strategy around the world for over 40 years, and I've helped companies and industries from airlines to vaccines to improve bottom lines by billions of dollars. So let's talk about when strategic thinking matters most. Here's a situation. You're having breakfast and you have to choose between grapefruit and orange juice. The stakes are small because it's just a tiny part of your lifetime nutrition. And the uncertainty is low because you've probably had both and you know both are good for you. You might as well just flip a coin. Here's another one with pickled sheep's brain. I spoke at a conference in a far off country, and afterward I went out for dinner with my hosts. They ordered appetizers in their language. A plate arrived with what I was told was pickled sheep's brain. And based on its appearance, I had no reason to doubt that that's exactly what it was. Then they all looked at me expectantly. That was the first time I ate pickled sheep's brain, and also the last time so far. I figured it was small stakes. I figured that if they could metabolize it, so could I, but also high uncertainty. What do you think pickled sheep's brain tastes like? Here's another one with big stakes and low uncertainty. Investing for retirement, for example, or deciding whether to smoke. Such decisions have big stakes for your life, and it's no great mystery what the impact will be. And then there's big stakes and high uncertainty, how you compete. That is complicated. There are many moving parts, many people and organizations involved. We know it's difficult and uncertain because some of the world's biggest companies have failed and because most startups do not go far. How we compete has big stakes and high uncertainty. That's where we need strategic thinking. But the thing is, there are radically different types of uncertainty. We need to deal with those types of uncertainty as the uncertainty requires. Data, for example, might help us to resolve some uncertainties, but sometimes data are simply not available. For example, there is no such thing as data from the future. We cannot measure the future. We also have no data on what our competitors are going to do. We have competitive intelligence, and that helps a lot, but it's not the same thing as data. And remember that they may change what they do because of what we do. Now, say you sell cribs or gasoline or shampoo. You can forecast pretty well what's going to happen to the size of your market based on current demand, changes in population, the mix of young and old people, and so on. Statistical forecasting works well for forecasting problems. There is uncertainty. You don't know how many people will move to or from your local market, or how many will choose to have children, and so on. On the other hand, there's no tremendous strategic impact from a market growing at 3.2% instead of 3.1%. Then there's unexpected events. I didn't see that coming. Nobody expects a pandemic. Nobody expects a great recession, a natural disaster, a major scandal. It is uncertainty, but it's not like the uncertainty around forecasting market size. An unexpected event drastically and quickly affects demand, workers, production, distribution, supply chains, all the things that go into businesses and their markets. It can go in either direction. It can make things better, as for online meetings during the pandemic, or worse, as for restaurants during the pandemic. Strategy decisions in this area, the didn't see that coming part, those decisions are about prevention. They involve trade-offs between risk and efficiency. For example, you get economies of scale if you centralize production in one location, but it also makes you vulnerable to a single point of failure from a factory explosion, a failure of transportation infrastructure, or a natural disaster. Then there's this one, the third kind of uncertainty. It comes from competing because you don't compete alone. Here, I see two problems with uncertainty. One, competitive strategy involves many players, including but not limited to competitors and customers. Their actions and reactions are complex and they have ripple effects. Two, our conventional tools, including our spreadsheets and our forecasts, and including our judgment and our experience, do not account for those complexities and ripple effects. The competitive dynamics are just too big for conventional tools and conventional thinking. When strategic thinking matters most, well, people have beliefs about uncertainty. If we have enough data, we can eliminate uncertainty. False. If we have great leadership, work really hard, and think positively, we don't have to worry about uncertainty. False. If we are agile and can respond quickly, we will succeed despite uncertainty. False. When you focus on uncertainty, think about what kind of uncertainty you face. Noise and imprecision are the uncertainties of forecasting. Data and statistical tools can help you on that kind of uncertainty. And if you want to have some fun with quantitative approaches, try Monte Carlo simulation. Unexpected events, contingency plans, and early warning help. Create contingency plans for unexpected events based on these three criteria. First, the event would have a major impact on your business. Second, it has a non-trivial chance of occurring. And third, you are not well prepared for it. Based on some work that I did in crisis simulations, I'd say that many organizations are less well prepared than they think. But competitive dynamics is where strategic thinking really pays off. Now, I said earlier that we cannot measure the future with its ripple effects. I'll add now that we can simulate the future. Serious games are simulations, like business war games and computer-based simulation. I've seen simulations shock experienced senior management teams and lead them to make major changes. They didn't do that because I personally told them something new. It is because of what they discovered for themselves through simulation. Now, you might have heard the expression that a surprise came out of left field. That expression comes from baseball, which you see in this picture here. And you know what's not visible in this photo? Left field. If you don't like surprises, and if surprises come out of left field, then you should watch left field. You should think left field. What could come out of left field? What would you do if you were your competitors, your suppliers, or your customers? What is no one doing now? What would you do if you wanted to disrupt your industry? John von Neumann, a great mathematician, one of the inventors of game theory, said chess is not a game because it has a finite number of plays and therefore it can, in theory, be solved. But poker, baseball, and even the utterly simple prisoner's dilemma are games because they are infinite. They have this kind of characteristic. I try to predict you, you try to predict me. I know you are trying to predict me, you know I'm trying to predict you. I try to predict what you're going to predict about me so I can adjust, and you try, and on it goes. The short version is watch left field, think left field, and play left field. And with that, that's the end. Or maybe not. An invitation to you. Please contact me for solutions to many strategy problems. Contact me if you would just like to talk about what you heard in this ACS strategy story. This stuff is fun for me and I love talking about it. So please feel free to get in touch. Thank you again, and I look forward to talking with you.